You're not in danger. You know you're not in danger. You're sitting at your desk, or lying in bed, or standing in a queue at the supermarket. Nothing bad is happening. And yet, your heart is going a bit fast. There's that familiar tightness across your chest. Your jaw is clenched. Your shoulders are up somewhere near your ears. And your brain is fizzing, just slightly, like a phone that won't stop vibrating. Even though you are perfectly safe, your body's primitive fight or flight alarm system has been triggered. You keep telling yourself, calm down, relax, there's nothing to worry about. And for a moment, that works. And then it doesn't. And the frustrating part isn't even the feeling itself, it's that you can't make it stop just by knowing you should. That is because you are trying to use your logical brain to turn off a biological reflex. I'm Nadia, and this is Overthinkers Reset, a channel for people who look fine on the outside, but whose brain and body run at full volume. Today's question is one I hear all the time. Why can't I just calm down? And the answer starts not in your mind, but in your body. Because until you tell your nervous system that it is safe, your mind will never stop racing. Your autonomic nervous system has two main branches. The first is your sympathetic nervous system. This is your threat response. When it activates, your heart rate goes up, your breathing gets shallower, blood rushes to your muscles, and your brain narrows its focus to one thing, the threat. You know this as fight or flight. The second is your parasympathetic nervous system. This is your rest and digest system. When this is running, your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, and your brain can think clearly and creatively again. Here's what matters for overthinkers specifically. These two systems can't fully run at the same time. Think of it like a seesaw. When one goes up, the other goes down. And you don't need an actual physical threat to tip that seesaw. A difficult email, an awkward memory, the thought of a conversation you haven't had yet. In clinical terms, these are called psychosocial stressors. To your nervous system, the worry about the thing can trigger almost the same response as the thing itself. Remember, your brain's primitive threat detection system simply cannot tell the difference between a physical danger and a psychological one. That is not a flaw. It's incredibly sophisticated engineering. It just gets exhausting when it never fully switches off. Here's a concept I want you to keep. It's called the window of tolerance. Think of your nervous system as having a zone it functions best in. Inside that zone, you can think clearly, respond rather than react, and feel things without being overwhelmed by them. Above that window is hyperarousal. That's the activated fizzing state. Racing thoughts, physical restlessness, the feeling that something is about to go wrong even when nothing is. Below that window is hypoarousal. This is the freeze state, not anxious and restless, but flat and disconnected, numb. Can't seem to start anything. Watching yourself from a slight distance, a feeling therapists call depersonalization. This is what happens when the perceived threat feels too overwhelming to fight or flee from, so the system defaults to its oldest evolutionary defense. It conserves resources and shuts down instead. Overthinkers often move between the two, wired and activated during the day, flat and empty in the evening. Or the reverse. The goal isn't to feel nothing, it's to widen your window, to increase your capacity to stay regulated even when life is demanding. And here is the key part. You widen that window not by thinking harder, but by working with your body directly to send safety signals back up to your brain. Here's how. Tool 1, the body scan check-in. Most overthinkers live almost entirely from the neck up. The body is just a vehicle for transporting the brain around. And because of that, the physical signs of nervous system activation build up quietly, unnoticed, until they're quite loud. Here's what I want you to try. It is a foundational technique from mindfulness-based stress reduction. Once a day, ideally at the same time, take about 60 seconds to do a simple body scan. Start at the top of your head. Move slowly down through your face, your jaw, your neck and shoulders, your chest, your stomach, your hands. You're not trying to fix anything. You're just noticing. In psychology, this is called building somatic awareness, tuning into your physical state without judging it or fighting it. Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders raised? Is there tightness anywhere? That's information. Those tense muscles are sending what scientists call proprioceptive feedback straight up to your brain's alarm system. Your body is telling you what your brain hasn't got around to registering yet. Why it works. Nervous system regulation starts with noticing. You can't shift something you haven't clocked. If you don't realize your body has secretly entered fight or flight, your brain will just keep racing. This draws on somatic awareness, which is the ability to sense what is happening inside your own body. Research shows that people with higher somatic awareness recover more quickly from stress responses because they can identify and respond to activation before it escalates into a full-blown spiral. Tool 2, the sigh reset. This one is related to extended exhale breathing, but different. And for moments when you're already quite activated, it works faster. It's called the physiological sigh. Here's what you do. Take a normal breath in through your nose, then, without exhaling, take one more short, sharp breath in on top of it to fully inflate your lungs. Then release it all in one long, slow exhale through your mouth. 2 inhales, 1 long exhale. That's it. Why it works. Your lungs contain tiny air sacs called alveoli. When you're stressed, your chest muscles become rigid, trapping your lungs like a balloon inside a small cage. This is part of why anxious breathing feels so tight and restricted. The double inhale re-inflates them. The extended exhale that follows activates the vagus nerve and triggers the parasympathetic response, which literally slows down the firing of your brain's alarm center. Research shows this is one of the fastest single breath interventions for reducing physiological stress. You don't need 5 minutes. 2 breaths anywhere, and nobody around you will notice. Tool 3, the temperature drop. This one sounds a bit odd. Stay with me. One of the fastest ways to bring an activated nervous system down is through cold exposure, not an ice bath. I mean cold water on your face or held against your wrists or the back of your neck for about 30 seconds. Why it works. Cold water on the face activates the mammalian dive reflex, a hardwired physiological response that stimulates the vagus nerve, slows your heart rate, and shifts blood distribution. It is one of the few things that directly interrupts a strong sympathetic response within seconds rather than minutes. You have probably done a version of this instinctively, splashing your face when you feel overwhelmed, standing under a cold shower after a difficult day. That wasn't random. Your body was self-regulating. Tool 4, rhythmic movement. The 4th tool is simpler than it sounds. Rhythmic movement. Bilateral stimulation, which just means movement that alternates between the left and right sides of your body, has a natural regulatory effect on the nervous system. In fact, therapists use this exact mechanism in trauma treatments like eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, commonly known as EMDR. Walking is the most obvious example, but it also includes swaying gently, tapping alternating hands on your knees, or even chewing gum. The rhythmic, predictable quality of the movement communicates safety to your nervous system. It says, we are moving steadily. We are not fleeing. Everything is manageable. Why it works. Walking has the added advantage of giving your body something to do with the stress hormones that have been released. Cortisol and adrenaline were designed to power movement. A brisk walk literally completes the biological fight or flight cycle. You are not just distracting yourself. You are actively utilizing and burning off the chemical response. If you have ever noticed your thinking gets clearer when you're walking than when you're sitting still trying to solve a problem, this is exactly why. Let me bring this together. Your nervous system has 2 modes, threat response and rest and restore. For overthinkers, the threat mode activates easily and can struggle to switch off. Not because you're broken, because your brain is treating perceived threats the same way it treats real ones. You have a window of tolerance, a zone where you function best, and you can widen it, not by thinking harder, but by working with your body directly. The 4 tools, the body scan check-in to notice what's building before it becomes overwhelming. The sigh,
inhale.
Reset for fast-acting relief when you're already activated. The temperature drop for moments when you need something immediate, and rhythmic movement to metabolize the stress response and signal safety to your system. None of these replace addressing what's actually worrying you, but they make it possible to approach those things from inside your window rather than from the ceiling. Which of the 4 tools are you going to try first? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If you're struggling and want to speak to someone, please do reach out to your GP or your local psychological therapy service. There is genuinely good support available. If this video has been useful, please subscribe, because every week on this channel I go deeper into the patterns that keep thoughtful, capable people feeling stuck. Next week we're talking about why you look fine on the outside but feel completely exhausted on the inside. A state psychologists call burnout or chronic stress depletion, and why that gap is far more common than you think. I'll see you next week.